The annual G7 meeting that takes place every year was hosted by Japan this year in May. It took place in Hiroshima. Many decisions took place during this year's G7 meeting. A major and a very relevant outcome was the Hiroshima Artificial Intelligence Process, abbreviated as HAP. It is an effort by G7 to determine a way forward to regulate AI. There are other mechanisms to regulate AI. For instance, Global Partnership on AI, pronounced as GPAI. It was launched in 2020. It has its secretariat at the OECD. GPAI 2 was born during the G7 summit. GPAI is a multi-stakeholder forum to guide the development of AI. GPAI has 29 members and India is among its founding members. Now coming back to the G7 summit of 2023, during which HAP is born. The G7 statement says, "We recognize the need to immediately take stock of the opportunities and challenges of generative AI, which is increasingly prominent across countries and sectors, and encourage international organizations such as OECD to consider analysis and impact of policy developments and GPAI to conduct practical projects. In this respect, we task several ministers to establish the Hiroshima AI process through a G7 working group in an inclusive manner and in cooperation with the OECD and GPAI for discussions on generative AI by the end of this year." The G7 statement stresses fairness, accountability, transparency, and safety. The statement mentions multi-stakeholder international organizations and multi-stakeholder processes, which indicates that the Hiroshima AI process is not expected to address AI issues from a central perspective, but instead aims at involving multiple stakeholders. This brings us to the core of the issue which Hiroshima AI process aims to address. Right now, machine learning models train on data which is publicly available. The dataset does not differentiate between copyrighted material and free-to-use material. This may be beneficial to the AI model, but it does not reward the copyright holder for their hard work. Now imagine someone who has published an article in the Hindu newspaper. That article was used by the AI language model to train itself. While the AI trained itself, the author of the Hindu were not compensated for the benefit derived out of their content. This could very well be considered stealing, and this is where a multi-stakeholder forum mechanism comes in. The Hiroshima AI process provides a chance to define what are the do's and don'ts for the AI models, what can be included in fair use, and what cannot be included. Now looking at the past precedent, UPSC has in fact asked at least 4 questions in past 3 years. The questions are from similar topics like multilateral organizations and multilateral agreements. Here are the questions.